back again. Second try trying to get this video done. At some point in time, I'm going to be getting a camera, an actual camera, and not trying to do this off my phone. Anyway, I have a couple things I want to talk about. First off, today at lunch I saw this post. Apparently there's this Cohen, I guess, that has testified and opened the door for Trump to be impeached. That's what a lot of people are saying. His testimony is opening the door for Trump's impeachment. And it's the people on the left seem to be saying this the loudest. If you don't like Trump, what makes you think you're going to like Pence better? If you think Trump's an assault to your freedoms and liberties and all this stuff, Pence is going to be a rude awakening. As much as I hate to say this, Pence is a good thing. It's like people who wanted to say, wanted Bush to be impeached. It's like, you do realize that means you get Cheney, right? You may not like the current El Presidente, but, you know, you don't immediately you don't get to just choose who you want to replace them. It goes to the vice president. And you have to have that foresight to see that and realize that. And that's seems to be lacking a lot. I mean, at least with the people calling for Obama to be impeached, you would have gotten Biden. And yeah, he's a bit of a doofus, but he's a likable doofus. Pence? No. Pence... Every time I look at him, I just get this sleazy, dirty feeling. He gives me the heebie-jeebies. Truth be told. I just don't like him. I just don't get a good feeling from him. And I'm not saying Trump is some saint or anything else. I'm not even going to say, oh, he should remain president. What I'm saying is, think about what you're doing. Do you really want Pence to be president? That is something you need to think about. The other one, you know, a few months back I did a video on South Africa voting to take a land away from white farmers. I have a follow-up video for you. This is going to be from Russia Today, RT. I'm going to be putting the link to this particular article, and it was in response to a big kerfuffle of Trump was having the Secretary of whatever, I forget right offhand, Pompeo, I think is the name. Anyway, Trump was having him just keep a watchful eye on the farmland grab in South Africa. And how the South African currency just like tumbled in value because of this. And South Africa is like, mind your own business. Why would we want to go remember colonial times? Blah, blah, blah. I have some insight on this first off. And I've interacted with some people in the area. And it's very disheartening. They are gearing up for civil war. They're gearing up for massacres. And in this article, it does mention white farmers being killed and attacks on them. So this doesn't happen. You want to talk about flat-out racism, look at South Africa right now. And it is wrong. What they're doing is wrong, to take someone's property. And yeah, you might say, well, it was taken from us 300 years ago. Yeah, but that don't make it right to kill people now that had nothing to do with it. It wasn't taken directly from you, and they didn't take, the people alive didn't take it from you. So, no, I don't agree with that at all, but And I know I said this before, but it's just a matter of what I'm seeing is it's getting worse. And there's a lot of violence going on that seems to be getting worse. And yeah, I'm still going to put a link on this in the description to this particular article. But it's not so... They tried to make it out like Trump had mentioning it and taken this action was having an effect on their currency losing value. And I can't say that it's necessarily wrong to say that, but not for the reasons you're really thinking. Trump saying this in and of itself, that, oh yeah, we're going to look into this, is no real, in and of itself, was no real effect. What brought the effect on was, this is getting, well, now international attention, mainstream attention from one of the major world leaders at this time. And that attention and the fact that it's being brought to the forefront is what is affecting their currency, not the United States alone. It's a byproduct of their own actions, their own doings, setting up a hostile environment of where violence and basically government enforced theft is taking place. These are things to take into consideration. They did this to themselves, and now they're starting to see repercussions for this, for their actions. It's not Trump's doing. All Trump did was he put it on the forefront by coming out and saying it. Yeah, he's kind of trend-setting by probably being, this is the first I've heard of any major world leader saying, hey, we're going to keep an eye on this. And there might have been others, I just haven't seen it on the news. But Trump, the best, to my knowledge, is the first one to come out and say that. And this is making it mainstream, which it should be. But is Trump responsible? No. It's the negative attention that's being brought to this negative situation created by a hostile government that is feeding off of racial tensions in the area for their own benefit. This is what they're doing. And you can see some of the same things going on here in America. You see, they play, each side has their particular demographic they're catering to, and you can see them kind of playing the fears of the others to get their way. And that's what's happening here. And yeah, they offer, well, if you vote me into power, I'll give you this, I'll give you that. But what it doesn't take into consideration is all the things that they're giving, they're forcefully taking from others. And I don't see how anyone can view this as being anything but immoral. I mean, you're talking taking people's homes away from them because of something that happened 400 years ago or 300 years ago or whatever. When there's literally no one alive that knew a time when this was any different. And you think this is justifiable? No, it's not. How would, for those who think this is justifiable, put yourself in their shoes. Would you still feel this was so justifiable? Would you still be so proud of what's going on? I'm willing to wager you wouldn't. You might say you would. It's easy to try to claim the moral ground when you've not lived the particular situation they are enduring. But at the end of the day, just because something happened 300 years ago does not mean it's right today. Slavery in America was wrong. But the fact of the matter is, there's no one alive that owns slaves in America. There is no one alive today that was a slave in America. There's no one alive that knew anyone that owned slaves or was a slave. So it's pretty much a dead issue. But no, they keep wanting to bring that up because, and the reason is, the powers that be feed and they thrive on this division. Yes, they are focusing on that because that's how they get what they want. They get their agenda through. They get their power. They get their money. And until we step up to the plate and say, no, we're not going to be stooged out by this anymore. Instead, we're going to settle our differences and come together as one. Until we the people stand up and say that, no matter which country you're in, they're going to continue. Everyone wants to let on like the government is their friend. No, it's not. Would your friend pit you against other people? No. Would your friend forcefully take property from others? No. That's not the actions of your friend. You might think it's your friend because you're seeing benefits from it. But the thing is, there's only so much, this notion of taking from the haves and giving to the have-nots. The people that have can only give so much. And guess what? They're quantified as the have-nots. Then you move, then there'd still be people who are have-nots. But all those people that had are no more. So guess what happens? You requantify who is the haves and who is the have-nots. And you take from the haves and give to the have-nots until they can give no more. And then it moves down, and so on and so forth. The thing is, today you might be classified as a have-not. Tomorrow you might be classified as someone who has. And guess what happens then? They come after your money, your property. Is that the nature of a friend? No. But the thing is, people don't have the foresight to see that this is the type of thing that happens. But it is. It happens consistently. So take heed. Wherever you are, you don't have to be in America. Take heed. Look at what's going on and remember, today it is not you, but tomorrow it could be. And that's one thing, you talk like there's Holocaust survivors, and they said, oh, well, that was someone, quotes that you can read by them, and it's like, well, that was someone else and I didn't think about it, or that was someone over there and I didn't think it would happen to me. That's always the thing. You always say, it's someone else that will never happen to me. The problem is, and then you wind up being blindsided because when it does become you, the fact of the matter is, today, like I said, today it is not you. Tomorrow it is not you. But that don't mean the next day it won't be you. You never know when it could be. And maybe you'll get lucky and it won't. But it could be. So to allow any system to be in place where you could be exploited like that, that's wrong. You should be vigilant, stay vigilant, and not allow that to take place. Because the moment it does take place, you're pretty much screwed. And I'm saying that, yes, it's kind of crass, but at the end of the day, it's easier to put a system in place than it is to, it's easier to put a system in place or prevent a system to be put in place than it is to get rid of an established system. And there's a penalty for everything. If you want to be truly free, if you want to make sure you don't have a government system taking advantage of you or others, yes, you have to remain vigilant. You're going to have to make sacrifices to maintain that that lifestyle, that mentality, that level of freedom. It's going to take self-sacrifice and vigilance on your part. And you think, well, if it won't matter if I just do this because it'll only affect this. No, that's not the case. Today, it will only affect this. Tomorrow, it'll be something different. But tomorrow could be completely and totally different because, well, there's always new threats, and there's always people, and that just means, we'll have to change things to protect you from this new threat. So we're going to have to take this little freedom over here. But it's to keep you safe. It's to protect you. It's to give back to you. And then it's something else and something else and something else. It's always something. It's like where I live. They mismanaged the funds. So they came out and said, we can either raise the wheel tax for your tags on your car, or we can raise your property taxes because we need the revenue. And they were, we'll only raise one of them. And they put it to a vote, and the people voted. We only wanted the wheel tax to be raised. Not, show us where the money's going, not cut your funding, but we'll agree for wheel tax to be raised. So they did, and a few months later they came back and raised property taxes because it just wasn't enough, new expenses. So we had to increase a different tax. And I think they've talked about doing something else, raising another tax, and it's always something. It's always a new reason to take a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. It's a slippery slope. And once you get down on, and I know this is cliche-ish, but once you get started on that slope, it's very hard to stop going down it or to recover from that back to the place you were. Remain vigilant, everybody. Keep in mind that, the powers that be are not necessarily your friends. Some of them might be, yes, but overall, no. They're looking out for themselves. That's why if they were looking out for your best interest, they wouldn't be writing exemptions in a lot of the laws that they pass for themselves and their friends and their family and their big donors. It's the truth. They're not looking out for anyone's best interest for but themselves. And yeah, they'll try to pass it off as being to benefit you, but trust me, it isn't. It's like a story. My late grandmother told me a bunch of relatives went hunting for about a week, and whoever it was, they drew straws, and whoever drew the short straw had to do the cooking, unless someone there complained. And then they would have to take over the cooking. Well, after a couple of days, the guy got tired, and he went out to the pasture and got him a cow. He decided he was going to fix a cake. So he went out to the pasture, got him a big old cow pile, and whipped up some ice and threw on it. And they went to eating, and one guy took a bite of that cow pile cake and said, "Man, this tastes like shit." And then he stopped and said, "But man, is it good." Because he realized what was happening, and he caught himself. He was getting ready to get himself roped into something very bad. And the problem is, like it or not, it's going to happen. You're going to see stuff like this no matter what. So just keep that in mind in all the things that you do, and try to remain vigilant to the best of your abilities. And sometimes it might work, it might not. I don't know. Why are you slowing down? I need to get over because of this accident. But yeah, just keep that in mind. Stay vigilant. It's very, very, I know it can be scary. It can be hard. It'll take self-sacrifice. And you may lose certain aspects of safety, but you have to look at it in the better good of, maintaining your freedom and your liberties. Anyway, I'm going through a pretty nasty accident right now. I'm going to get off here. Let me know what you think later.